Hey everybody, welcome to C3 Mods. We're at PBJ, Performance by Joe in South County, St. Louis. I brought the car here today. We're going to get it on the dyno and see what kind of power this GMPP LS3 Cruise and Connect package actually holds. It's the 500 horse LS3 with the 4L70E. I got a baseline on it earlier down here this spring when I got it running. And I got the new fuel tank in it with the bigger fuel pump, and I got that CIPA air intake system on there now, and got rid of that K&N, and we're going to get it on there and see what kind of numbers she pulls. Stay tuned. Obviously, you can tell he's a pretty busy guy. Hopefully here in a few minutes we'll get this rolling. Hey everybody, well, we just got back from the dyno shop, and it was awesome. We got a lot of horsepower out of this car. It was pretty exciting experience. I learned a lot of things today that I didn't know about concerning the GMPP Cruise and Connect package. So what Joe was able to tell me was the transmission's is a standalone transmission. So the transmission harness and the engine harness do plug into one another. With this kit, they do talk to one another, but only in a limited capacity. Your VSS, temperatures, and things of that nature, but it doesn't allow him to tune the transmission, the shift points, the line pressure, the converter lockup through the diagnostic plug for the LS. So with that being said, he wasn't able to lock out third gear, which is the 1-to-1 ratio on the 4L70E, to make a full wide open pull on the dyno to get peak horsepower and peak torque numbers across the broad curve. So he got the fuel curve mixtures dead on, 14.7 from idle all the way to wide open throttle. The O2 sensors are responding properly. The learn pattern is working. It kicks out of third gear and into overdrive at 130 miles an hour. And on the way home, I was at a steady 60 miles an hour on the interstate in overdrive. And I put it to the floor and went wide open throttle, and it kicked down all the way to second and got the car sideways. Luckily, it was a 4-lane interstate. Nobody was next to me, but it scared the hell out of me. So I was pretty impressed. I put a smile on my face. I'm really happy with it. So after we got the engine tuned, well, let me back up. While we were tuning the engine, since he wasn't able to lock out third gear, he had to do all the pulls in from moderate RPM after it shifted into third, and then go to wide open throttle, and then he ended up doing a few of them from a rolling idle all the way to wide open through. So the torque curve and the horsepower curve is kind of skewed because it's adjusting itself as it shifts through its functions in the transmission. So after we got that done, we got into the transmission part. The 4L70 has its own ECU. There's a pigtail harness. GM supplies a pigtail. They even supply a thumb drive, which we don't even know what's on it. We didn't even look. He was able to hook up and pull everything out of the ECU for the trans onto his computer, and we looked at that, and he was able to adjust everything. He adjusted everything. Shift points, the sensitivity for the shift points, where it shifts. He adjusted the line pressure a little bit, but being that he didn't build the transmission, or he doesn't have the specs of the transmission, he doesn't know what kind of parts are in it. I mean, the booklet says that it's not an off-the-shelf 4L70E and that they're hand-built specifically to match the horsepower rating of this motor, and that's all well and good, but you still don't know what kind of parts are in there. So to be on the safe side, we kept the line pressure moderate. The shifts are firm but smooth. And again, you know, the sooner you go to wide open throttle, the faster the acceleration is. Obviously, they firm up. He was adjusted the lockout for the torque converter so that there's it performs how it's supposed to precisely across the board. And you'll have to excuse me because I don't understand any of this. That's why I went to a chassis shop. He's the professional and he knows what he's doing. He explained it to me as well as he could, and it made great sense when he was there, but me conveying it might get a little hazy. But so the printer was down. I took photographs of the computer screen. I'll put those online with this video so you'll be able to see the torque curves that it was providing and the shift patterns that it was providing. And then there's a peak horsepower and peak torque photograph that I took of the screen. I'll put up that as well. But all in all, a great day. I mean, I forgot about the air conditioning not even working. That's another thing that I haven't figured out yet. But one of the things that I did solve earlier that I tested on the way down there was the cruise control, which is the Dakota Digital Cruise Control for fly-by-wire engines such as the LS. And if you are going to run that, or if you have it and you're having problems with it, I talked to the tech reps there and they told me to take the ground off of wherever I have it grounded and splice it in to the purple wire on the harness coming out of the Dakota Digital box to the pedal. That's the pedal ground. I think it's J2 is your black ground wire. It's the J plug pin 2, and there's a purple wire that loops between the two plugs. One plugs into the pedal, one plugs into the GM harness. Do it on the Dakota Digital harness, so if you F that up, you can get another one. You don't want to cut on your GM harness. Cut that purple wire, splice the ground in there. Now your pedal and your Dakota cruise control box have the same ground. Smooth as glass, works perfect. It quit cutting out on me. It quit putting it in limp mode, and it works awesome. And the cruise works at 100. I haven't tried it above that. I'm sure it probably will, but it's a great day. The car's stupid fast, gobs of torque. I mean, stupid amounts of torque, and yeah, I couldn't be happier. So if you're doing a resto mod or you have a late model engine and you want to get some performance out of it, take it to a chassis shop. I mean, you owe it to yourself. If you're interested, it was a $550 total, and that's pretty much the norm around here. It was $250 for an initial mapping. We plugged the computer in. He did a baseline on it. Found out a few things about my car. He told me I needed to up the fuel pump size and change the intake. And I did that and went back, and then it was $250 for the dyno. Since the trans was a standalone, it was another extra $50. So money well spent. Most of that money, by the way, that you give him goes to credits. You have to pay GM for credits that they'll allow you to get into these computers. So again, great day, couldn't be happier. One of the other things I learned today while I was talking to Joe, so my engine's all stock, out of the crate, in the car, didn't touch anything. Hooked up the wiring harness and away we went. He was telling me that he is able to pull 1,300 horsepower out of stock GM coils. He's able to get 1,200 horsepower out of stock GM plugs. So, you know, for those of you that think that maybe you need to change something, maybe ignition parts or whatever, thinking you're going to gain a little bit of horsepower, you might want to rethink that. You might want to save your money, spend it on something else, or get it to the chassis shop, get it put on the computer, get a baseline set up for it, and get it on the dyno and see what kind of numbers you're getting. So I hope that helps. Good luck with all your projects. Thanks for joining, and stay tuned for more videos.